morning. I'll call to order the Tourism and Arts Commission meeting for Monday, October 20th. We have Jackie Brown online and Greg will hopefully be joining us shortly.
Or Jack, yeah.
No Jackie yet. Okay. I know she's planning on it.
But we have a quorum, right?
We have a forum, no matter. Okay. Public comment. Be pretty fun. We have no attendees. This month. And I assume our signs are still posted at the post office?
I saw them there.
Okay, I haven't looked, but with the, or Greg's signs, okay. I haven't checked in a little bit. Should we cruise along even though Jackie's not on?
Yeah.
Okay, we will go ahead. Approval of the minutes from August 18th.
No, that's, I'm
Never
gonna
mind.
approve the minutes.
So you approve of the minutes? Do I have a second? All those to approve the minutes?
Aye.
Aye. All those approved. Okay. We pick the back off there. Public art policy. I'm gonna turn that over to you.
Okay, I'm going to, I just didn't get this done in time and get it distributed, but, so, can't really discuss this in detail, but I'll tell you what I was thinking.
Yeah.
At least when I kind of created it, or revised it. The first part is pretty much the same as what we had before, but I took out that section about giving preference to artists who are not represented. Because the reason that was in there, there's a different way of dealing with that. That is not gonna be quite as controversial, I don't think. And that falls in the process, but otherwise, this first part is pretty much the same as what we have talked about before. Where I changed things was in that process, the second part down there. And generally, the sections in here, what we're really talking about is that, we will, just kind of prepare a general, we think we would like to have a piece of art in this location, type of a thing. And we think we should, plan a budget of X amount, so forth, and just present that to the city council, because I assume that they would need to approve that before we go forward, so we do that first. And you can see here some of the other stuff that I put in there is a timeline for, when we're going to put out a call for our submissions and that sort of thing. Once they come back and say, yep, let's go ahead with that, then we'll put the call out. And I just listed some things that I think should be in that call. If anybody, has a better idea, you probably look at these more often than I do, so you know what information is helpful for artists to have, and if there's something that they should have that I didn't put in here, let me know, and, we can obviously add that in. So, we just want to get the proposals out there. Once we get that, I think that it would be helpful for this group to narrow it down to, I put down 3. If we think there should be 4 or 5 or something like that, that's okay, we can always adjust that. But just narrow it down to the top selections. And then make those available for public comment. And I will admit that I hadn't really so far thought out exactly how we're going to do that. That's probably something that we might want to talk about. Because presumably these proposals are, we're not going to actually have a piece that people can look at. Maybe an artist has a piece and they'll actually present it and say this is something, but most likely it's going to be a written description or drawings or something like that. So exactly how we get it out there, but I think it would be helpful to get input, and not just from Cannon Beach residents, but from tourists as well. So that we can involve the public in there, and, you know, maybe we could figure out a way to make it an event, so that it's kind of fun for people also. So we'll get that back, and then, once that comes back, then it's up to TAC group here to decide, you know, which one that we want to purchase, taking into consideration, obviously, the public comment, but we have the final vote. And that deals with the issue that we were concerned about with, you know, getting with the health sign, basically. They can't have it. So,
Well, do we or does city council have final vote?
well, we have the final vote on what we recommend to city council.
Okay, gotcha, all right.
That's what I was saying. We'll get down to one piece, and this is the piece then that we're gonna recommend to city council.
All right.
And then that's what we do. We recommend it to city council, and they vote yay or nay, or what were you smoking when you came up with that one?
So can I ask a question? So for instance, the first one that would probably come up would be, well, not necessarily, but city hall, art for city hall, outside or something like that. I'm assuming outside because I think the inside, well, anyway. We're gonna decide on the theme. I guess I'm like saying we have to put the theme, or are we just gonna do a call for art for the city hall?
I suppose we can decide one way or the other. It seems to me.
Yeah, well, like,
Figure-
yeah, for example, you would, like, it can be super big, like the one that I was talking about that I just did with, Hoffman was, they were like a gate. But it doesn't actually have to be a gate, and it could represent, the arts and crafts of the coast. And it can just be super big,
Okay.
like something that has a welcoming, whatever, you know, so it doesn't have to be. It should be big, you know, like some super big, an idea, I don't know.
Okay.
So for like City Hall, it could be an entrance
That is
sculpture, you know.
gonna be like, yeah,
Or
so like,
community involvement. There's something as general as that, so something that represents. the community.
nature refuge, it was anything.
Okay.
Like. Whatever.
Did we, and I apologize, I was not here for the August meeting. The last time you guys really spoke about this, but did we take out maintenance?
Maintenance is sort of, there's somewhat in here.
Or longevity, or
Yeah.
something? I don't know if that should be included.
I don't think I put
In the
that, I
call.
didn't specify it that much. I put down in here, I guess it's on the second page, the second to last paragraph. It says during the period of public comment, the staff will meet with appropriate city departments such as Public Works and Parks to determine potential installation requirements and maintenance requirements and
Okay.
and that sort of thing. So, you know, so we'll get information on that. Hopefully buy-in from these other departments as well. And then that'll be part of our deliberation on deciding what to buy.
Can I add on that,
Pardon? You can buy. Okay,
on that note, though, can we ask that you do that before we do the public info portion? Because if you talk to the public works department and they say, hey, this is what it's gonna take, it may not be feasible to do.
Yeah.
Quite, like, and then we would kind of backtrack, because then if all the communities say, oh, this is the greatest, and the public's like, you know, this is gonna be a nightmare to maintain, or. We'd like to have that ahead of time, because then we can kind of help determine which one would be the best.
Michelle, have you ever seen that in?
I was gonna suggest, I mean, I don't know if this is, but instead of public comment, having a committee, citizens. Once you start opening up art for public comment, it just becomes madness, in my opinion. So instead, I would say like a call for a committee, but I mean, I don't know if that's. Or not.
Yeah.
Because once you're like, I mean, art is subjective.
Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying, and you're right. You know, you public comment, you're gonna get all kinds of stuff, including some pretty stupid things.
I mean, you like, if you want like tourists input, then ask somebody from the chamber. You want artists input, ask some gallery owners, the small artists. You
Yeah,
want to have you know, like have a committee of like 7 or 8 people that meet once or twice. I mean, I'm sorry, yeah, spitballing. Cause I just think like involved
yeah.
with, like,
I
our
understand what you're
purchase
saying.
is, you know, some people hate red, some people don't like bonds, you know, it's like, and that's gonna be contentious and. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, see, that was kind of the idea that I was thinking about when I put in here that we would take into consideration those comments.
For that,
You know, yeah, I mean, when you're reading through it and if somebody says, yeah, this piece is absolutely lousy because it's red.
yeah,
Okay, well, take that comment for work.
well, it's let's see the reference artists to
Yeah,
often too. And,
I get that, I get
like,
that,
I
but,
mean,
well, the artists don't necessarily aren't necessarily see.
well, and usually the committees meet.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, so if you have like citizens and professionals, and I don't, that's just fine.
No, I understand what you're saying, and I want to think that through a little bit, because I want to take that idea along with the idea that I would like as much public involved in this as possible to make it sort of an event. you know,
Yeah,
that people get excited about, and you know, participate in, hopefully, you know, you get a lot of people who get excited about a piece and you read it, you know, in the comments, that, oh, we're really excited about this one, man, that's what people are really excited about, and then, you know, you're gonna get more public acceptance of the piece once you purchase it.
that's very altruistic.
Well, I know, I fully understand, I appreciate that. In fact, there was a ceramic artist, it was a friend of Lynn's, who, did a really fun piece where in his piece, he wrote down, he put in public comments that he heard at Arts Fair as people walk by. And I'll tell you, you just sat and looked at that piece and laughed.
Just had a comment.
Yeah. Go ahead, Bruce.
Oh, thanks. For students, when we're talking about a committee, I don't know if that won't have to be a public process. Like if this is, like when the meeting is held, that we might have to have, the public may be there. I don't know that.
Yes.
Yeah, so just think about that and when you're doing, the other part is, would it be possible for people to comment and then provide all the comments to the committee? That way, public is commenting, they are participating, but you still have a group of 6 or whatever the number is that's making the decision on, you know, what to move forward with.
Yeah, I guess my thinking was that this group would be that committee,
Okay.
yeah,
That's
rather than bringing somebody else in, but you're suggesting a separate group of people that are invited.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, and then understand not having things not public, but, so, I mean, I guess it's public money, but it's not public policy.
So from a procedural standpoint, yeah, if we were to do a separate committee, it would have to be a city sanctioned committee through a resolution, city council level. And all meetings would be held exactly like what we're doing.
Yeah.
So you would get input from that group. An alternative option would be, you just did it at the TAC level, but we made a concerted effort to invite the people that we would want on that group to get the feedback from.
Yeah.
You know, invite galleries, invite, you know, send out a quick email, be a little bit more personal and say, hey, we really want your opinion. And try to invite them to come to this, see if they're public. Yeah.
I think Bruce, you had commented one time when we were going through this, that you would rather have it just be this committee, not a separate committee. For all those reasons that you just said, it's like, oh God, another committee. That makes sense to me. I guess, yeah. I don't know how you get public comment other than doing this, and if you do the voting cards, then we have the same problem we had before.
Well, and I was going down, like, the social media route. How is that different than ballot boxes per se?
It wouldn't be either.
It's not.
Yeah, and it'd be nice if you could have at the site where the piece was going to be, somehow the proposals, like on a board up there or something like that, and let people, maybe just have a sheet of paper or something that people can comment on and put in a box, that kind of thing. And, yeah, you might get stuffing doing that, but so what, because we're taking this all into
Right, yeah.
consideration, that's not a final vote, so it's just. So. it wouldn't be
Are you
really
guys
sense.
imagining that this would be a piece of art? Are you gonna wait for City Hall to be finished? Or do you want City Hall to open with this piece of art? Do you have an
Well, the
opinion?
idea that they would open it, but, trying to coordinate timing is going to be a challenge. So, and I suspect you're gonna be in City Hall for a while before you have some sort of a grand opening. Typically, there's some kind of a soft opening and then a grand opening, so it'd be nice if we could coordinate it with a grand opening for, we'll see.
So the trick would be there to have the proposals up. The proposals either, well, that wouldn't be the actual piece of art, but like. Artist rendering of this piece of art with City Hall behind it, somewhere up there. It would still be a construction zone, except for they will have moved inside by that time. I'm imagining that it won't be as locked off as it is right now. I can't imagine tourists
Yeah.
just walking by
No.
City Hall. There's no walking by it right now. I understand that it will be at a different stage then, but
Is
I
it
think we
where?
haven't seen the fence until finished.
it will be fenced until it's done. Okay, all right, well, that answers that. And then maybe what you do is you have artists rendering someplace like here at the information center. Because
Yes.
otherwise you're not gonna get anybody's public response. Nobody's gonna be walking by there.
Well, and most people,
Well, that's
I hate
what-
to say it, think this is City Hall, so.
Then
Actually, that's the first time.
I mean, sure, yeah.
Or something that says proposals down.
Yeah,
here. Please vote, something like
Yeah,
that, so.
We're going to my
If they can't imagine, it,
First.
don't. Just kidding.
What about them being on the website?
So,
What about them being on the website?
Mhm.
Well, yeah,
yeah.
That would be fine.
I think the more broadly it's disseminated, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, and if we did it on the website, we could put out in the community bulletin. A little piece directing with a hot link or something to the city website to give
You could
comment.
put it on the chamber website, you can put it on Facebook on the chamber. I mean, if your goal is to get it out there and get responses. Then you could then take you have 30 days to respond and give a yay, nay, blah, which number you like, why, blah, blah, blah. And then you can look at all of that after the 30 days and take it for what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So just real quick, we're getting off on the City Hall project, but we need to focus back on the statement.
Yeah.
So in order to get.
I was just looking for it. That's the obvious next place to look for. So sorry.
That's all my input. but
Good point, Jennifer.
Is to council, to
Yeah.
get going on that. The point.
So, and I'm gonna circle back, sorry, cause, I guess my question is, Michelle, when you see these call for arts pieces, are you seeing maintenance be part of the questions being asked for the proposal? Like longevity, how long it's gonna last for, or, cause I'm wondering if I want it in, personally, I would like to see it with the proposal from the artist at the forefront.
Well, I think I said before too that sometimes,
You don't know?
oh no, sometimes, yeah, art isn't necessarily supposed to last.
Yes.
And so I don't know if that needs to be,
Or
I mean, I guess maintenance. would be
Maintenance
one
of the
thing,
art.
but
I just think that's an important, I mean, as we're learning,
Yeah.
older pieces, I don't know how we don't take that into consideration.
I mean, I guess,
Is it in there?
It was in the original one. and
I know, and I'm sorry, just keep harping on that, but to me, I understand it's art and yes.
yeah, I mean, I guess consideration if maintenance is needed,
Yeah,
I don't know, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, why not ask the person, so if you'd asked Steve, whatever his name is, I can't remember his last name, for the bronze pieces we just did, what you see as, you know, what would you see as, possible maintenance issues or whatever? They could certainly comment on that, especially since we're mostly talking about outside art. Not necessarily just, because there could be
Yeah.
inside art for this room or city hall or whatever, but for outside art, I would like to hear what the artist thinks about with regard to maintenance and longevity and that kind of stuff. I mean, the call for art that I'm thinking of right now is like call for art for the miniature show. That has nothing to
Yeah.
do with that. It's,
Yeah.
it's for a show, it's going away. But this is something that's going to be here. So I think it's worth it for the artist to comment on it in their proposal.
Yeah, and like not saying like it has to, but like,
No.
yeah, it's the plan.
Yeah,
It's
just
just
like-
like integrate.
Yeah.
yeah,
You know.
Because Steve might have said, these are wood pieces and they
Yeah.
will need to be maintained or whatever the heck
Yeah,
for those pieces, so. It
yeah,
seems to me like it's worth it to have in there to get the artist's perspective on what maintenance and preservation would look like. Or whatever, I'm not sure those are the right words, but
Yeah,
maintenance
no,
for
no,
sure.
yeah, and I'm not saying that's the hill you have to die on as far as a decision on the piece, but I think it's an important.
And with that, then
because-
when you take that to Public Works, they might have some other, they might look at that and have some comments about it. That gives Public Works more information.
Yeah, well, we're gonna need to know about maintenance and also is there any structure that needs to be done for installation?
Sure.
You know, do we need
Yeah.
a cement pad?
Yeah,
and that's usually on the artists to figure that out, like, that's part of. That's why people do public art professionally, is because they're not installed.
So I'm adding word maintenance under that,
Okay,
first paragraph up there, and by the way, just in response to Jennifer's comment, second to last paragraph on the second page, where it says during the period of public comment, I just scratched out during and put down before,
okay,
and that, I think that addresses that issue so that, you know, if, like you said, if Public Works looks at this thing and says, there's absolutely no way in the world we can handle this, let's not put it down for public.
That doesn't mean that would happen, but just makes.
No, you don't think so?
yeah.
Never know.
Jackie, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I would say, I think the maintenance part is important because number one, the artist could say, you know, I want this piece to disintegrate as part of the art piece, or they could say, no, I want it well maintained. You know, there's a lot of things that could happen there. And it just kind of gives us a general idea of what are we talking about here as far as maintenance. You know, I think that's an important piece of it. I would agree.
Okay, so. How are we feeling as far as like the top three? Do we think? We need to be. Well, I guess we need to be specific, right?
Yeah, I think we do. I
Okay.
don't know, 3 is the right number. 5 a better number. You know, how many do you want to put out for public comment?
You know how many?
And I'm feeling that.
Oh,
Well, so on that sort of middle paragraph. Yeah, so what we're really saying there is.
Well, yeah,
We take
100%.
all the
Yeah.
submissions.
Yeah.
This group picks the top, in this case, I wrote down the top 3.
Yeah.
That's the ones that go out for public comment.
Yeah,
So the question is, should it be 3, should it be 5?
you don't think that would be case to case, depending on what it is?
that's what I mean, wonder, like, I don't know if
Does
it's.
it have to
You
be
get-
specific, Jennifer? Can we say 2 to 5?
Okay, you can
Yeah.
just say top contenders,
Yeah,
because if you do, like Michelle said, in case by case, if you have 20 submissions, you may want 5, if you have 5 submissions, you may want
Yeah.
2.
yeah,
Yeah. Why don't we say 2 to 5? if, I mean, I don't know if city council would be okay with that vagueness, but it seems to me like it does seem very situational to me.
Yeah,
That it doesn't need to be that hard and fast.
Or do something like top contenders.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you go. Maybe that's the way to put it, say top contenders.
yeah, cause I have no idea.
And one number to be determined, I guess, I don't know.
Like for the Hoffman thing,
I think it's the top.
how many applicants?
I don't know,
Okay.
but I did one in LA, years ago, and it was like the top 30 or something like that.
Yeah.
And they got thousands of people.
Okay, so we're taking word three out and putting contenders in.
Top contenders. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I really like that all of your comments are all requiring a one word adjustment.
Me too. Wait, now let's do a paragraph.
Do we want to say something there about public comment can be submitted in writing to TAC or by attending a TAC meeting? Do we also want to say or commenting on, just because we're just talked about putting it out on City Hall, maybe the chamber, maybe Facebook?
Is anybody, I mean, I'm not trying to be Pollyanna, but is anybody worried about?
I would
Are
like
you worried
to,
about what?
I would not like voting online. It
Okay,
needs to be here, because that becomes a record and it's a tracking nightmare.
Yeah.
You can post, here's what we're looking at, vote here, give your feedback here in a public meeting.
okay,
Because it is, like, we have to already, we have systems in place that monitor everything, because everything written on our Facebook page becomes public record, and it just
Oh,
gets a little
okay.
bit more, not like we have to be able to provide it if needed, you know, but if we can just show what it is and invite everyone to come to a meeting, or come to, if we have a valid Dropbox, and not necessarily take into account what's said online, because we try to use Facebook as a one-way communication.
yep, I understand.
So.
Okay, I had forgotten
Yeah.
about the whole public part of this, so,
Yeah.
okay, then just leave it, TAC meeting, in person or online, period.
Yeah, well, I would
Not
have off, but
Or, pardon?
Zoom.
Not on, yeah.
Online, I mean.
Well, no, they can be online like this, I
Yeah.
guess, streaming, or whatever, not streaming.
Yeah. we'll use it as a way to spread the word.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
I,
I'm comfortable with that too, because, I mean, if you have somebody voting online, it probably isn't any big deal, but theoretically, somebody who is not gonna be impacted in any way, shape, or form by that art could be voting.
oh, for sure,
Somebody could be
multiple
sitting
times.
in New York City, oh,
But if they have to show up to it, if they have to show up to this thing and to make a comment, at least they've got some skin in the game.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it, that makes sense.
I was trying.
I forgot about the public part.
Like, say, somebody, I don't know, does a piece of art, it's really personal, and then it's public comment, and people are just ripping it apart. I mean, I know I'm being Pollyanna here, but.
Okay, no, I understand what
Yeah.
you're saying, but I think also, I don't see where there's a requirement, I don't see, there isn't a requirement in here to share any of these comments with the artists.
Well, I watch.
Yeah. But you're subjecting your.
But that's what.
I don't know, I was trying to-
That's the
Yeah.
nature of
Yeah.
your profession, you know, it's, you know,
I
it's.
get it,
maybe-
that would be a difficult thing to observe. Yeah.
Yes, I understand, that it's the nature of your profession, you put yourself.
I was just making sure.
But maybe something like share us who your favorite is, and tell us what one, two, three. I mean, we don't
Yeah.
have to get in depth, we just wanna know what one people like best. We don't have to necessarily explain what you like best.
Yeah.
Because we kind of control that narrative of saying, hey, rate these, one, two, three,
Yeah,
and not ask for input, but ask for maybe order.
yeah,
Maybe that could help, cause I get what you're saying.
yeah,
Cause that is hard.
yeah,
But if we can control it in a way that says, hey, give us an order,
yeah,
you know,
and people get pretty wild about art.
yeah. But if we can control how we word it,
Yeah.
maybe that would help with that concern.
Yeah.
Nobody likes having stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that way,
What?
I'm trying to acknowledge.
Oh, sorry, Bruce. I'm listening to the heat turn on over here.
We're talking about whether it's inside or outside. And I can get the architects to take a look at the site and suggest some locations. And, it's something we can do, and the town's planning, if it's something that might be on the wall, right now is drywall, but we need to be reinforced. Possibly we might be able to do something like that in advance from the wall we're still building.
Yeah.
So,
What's on the outside of what's cladding the outside of the building?
there's like a nice plaza on the west side.
Right,
And then,
that's where the front door is, right?
yeah,
See, it'd be nice to have something there.
right. And then there's a nice lobby,
Yeah,
and then, inside the conference chamber, there's the spaces. Which in the past, city that I was with before, we worked with the local art, school. And gave them the wall space for 3 months. And they came, and they put up, school guys or whatever, they put up things, we had set up, so it was very easy to do. And then, they would come, they would take it down and then put it in that shed. And that was sort of not, they were, people were able to sell in that, so we made the, chambers, our
I know we are getting an inventory of what was at City Hall, but 100 pieces, 200 pieces,
Oh, man.
50?
50. I mean, a lot of the stuff that we saved are, it's not necessarily art, but it was like those metal linotypes. You know,
Like the Japanese stuff?
No,
Like the
it was,
metal?
no, there was some junk stuff, but like some of the stuff we have is. Like historical, but not necessarily art, it was not that we used to create other stuff, but we've got small pictures, we've got big pictures. We've got wall hangings, but it wasn't a ton, it felt like a ton when we were wrapping it up.
Yeah.
And, upstairs, so it's definitely not as much as we thought once we got it downstairs.
Okay.
So the storage unit that it's stored in, is basically the chairs from the council chambers, and then the very front is art, and I'm like, wow, this doesn't really look so
Okay.
much. It looked like a lot at the time, but
So for the new square footage, you're gonna need additional art, I guess is my question. We don't have excess.
I mean, we have to decide which ones you want.
Yes.
Yep.
Would be, I mean, there's arts we have, it was the art that you want at that time, you know.
And also, do we want to do, we see it's a new place. Do we want to do new art or install the art that was in the building before?
Oh,
I think you both. I think you should have at least one open space with historical art that you've had in the old city hall as an homage.
Big wooden that was like the foyer.
can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's see.
Okay, of course, they heard it.
I can't remember the entrance, and so is there a roundabout in the front of it? Is there a place for sculpture out front that's separate from the entrance of the
There's a
building?
little plaza.
Angular.
There's a little plaza thing.
Like plaza, yeah.
So like undercover plot,
No.
no?
Okay, I'm gonna suggest.
Go ahead, we're getting off track.
Workshops.
We're off the rails.
I like this conversation, but, yeah, this needs to be submitted to city council. So that-
Hear me back on track.
But then get back to that because, yeah. And I haven't actually seen plans, detailed plans for the city hall. And it would be really nice if we could just do a site visit. And, go over there and like, say, see what's outside, to whatever extent we can walk inside right now and just, since it's somewhat framed up, maybe start to get a feel for the space. I personally, I always work a lot better if I'm actually standing in the space. I can start to visualize it a lot better and that sort of thing. And then we can come in with recommendations, you know, I do like the idea of a revolving show involving our students. You know,
Yeah.
I think I really like that idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, among other things, it's brought the reason for people to come to City Hall. If the same piece is there all the time,
Right.
gone once, I've seen it, been there, done that.
Yeah.
But it changes all the time, so let's go see what they put up this time.
Sure.
So from the policy standpoint, in order to keep this going, what I would like to recommend is we continue talking about policy. Joe, sorry, Tom, I don't know where I am. Yeah, Tom will make the changes incorporated that we discussed today. We will send it to the attorney. The attorney will give feedback that we can discuss then in November. And she'll either say, hey, take into consideration this, take into consideration that, or you guys are golden and awesome, keep moving forward. Then I would suggest us taking it to the November work session. Because that way council can say, yes, this is great, or no, make some changes, we can adopt it at the first meeting in January. So that way we have a formal policy. And then if you want to start with City Hall, that gives us 8 months to get going. Because the other part we have to take into account that if you are doing artwork, it also has to go through design review board. So that way we can start working through the process and kind of get going on it at the first of the year if you want to tackle City Hall first.
So when would design review step in?
Well, you have to have a product to show them.
So, well, that, how do we do that? Like, it's all the way down the road.
You have to have something to show them. You have to say, this is the art we wanna do.
It can be a run.
It can be a rendering.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, but you have to have, I guess, a decision, not a product. You have to have a decision of what it would look like, and that's what we have to present to them.
so all the public comment happens, so we take that then to design review and they can still say no.
And you can still appeal the fence.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so
I
you
gotcha.
still have mechanisms if they were to
Okay.
say like, hey, we really hate this. You can still appeal the fence.
Okay,
But also, I think with this situation, it's a little different, because you're gonna come with them with public input. You're gonna
Right.
say, hey, this isn't,
it's not just us.
it's not just.
Well, and it's definitely not based on taste, it's based on the criteria.
Criteria,
So
yeah.
Is it law, is it law?
What's it made out of,
Yeah.
Well, God, it really is steady.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit, it's different than
Yeah.
signs and, the sheer symbol. It's
Yeah,
different than
I
that.
think it would go supposed to be like site.
Yeah,
if you wanna,
I see.
Yeah,
Kinda.
does it go with the area, does it compete, like, and then just like, it would be like general things, it wouldn't be about like.
It's not even like,
Is that in their bylaws?
Yeah, no, it's not little art, but
no, but their landscaping is, and
Yeah.
that impacts on landscaping.
So that would be something we should give to the artist during the application process.
Well, yeah, because you're gonna have to, like, with each art that you're going for, you're gonna have to give some form of direction, like you said, the theme.
Yeah.
That in your theme of this one, it would be something that, fits the general.
I mean, we could put it, I mean, when it's happening.
When it's happening,
You know, this is the area, can't compete or whatever, like we could put some of that criteria in there.
What if we were to designate an area for public art and then take that to DRB? Because you don't know what's gonna be there. Necessarily, so like if there's a place and we're gonna put a pedestal or something there, let them ruminate on that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, and less books in the kitchen in the final,
Yeah,
yeah, like,
Yeah.
this grassy patch, we think it's good,
right.
blah, 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 it won't be more than 30 feet tall or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then we could do something like that too.
yeah,
And what we can do is,
Yeah.
have a meeting with me along, where we can let you in the building. And then also walk around out front to get an idea of where you might want to do something. And then we can do it on the day that the architect is gonna be in town, so that you can talk to them too.
That will be a public meeting, just so you guys know. It will be an advertised meeting with a site visit.
And you'll, I'm over here, it's not here right now.
Gotcha.
Okay, so really the only changes that I have written down is, to add something about the artist, giving some feedback on their estimate of maintenance requirements for the architect, that's part of the call for art.
Yeah.
Okay, changing that paragraph, instead of the top three, just the top contenders will be submitted for public comment. And then rather than saying during the period of public comment, blah, 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 it'll say before the period of public comment. So those are the only changes that I see. The only thing that I should have shrunk the font, so I didn't have a third page. It's the only thing it says on the third page is that this is all gonna be submitted to city council for approval, so.
Thank you for doing that, Paul.
that.
Appreciate that. Good job.
Okay, I will make those changes and Jennifer send that over to you and then you can.
Perfect. And then, we have a new city attorney, Jody, Ashley's gonna be leaving at the end of the year, so we're working with both of them right now. Ashley's reviewed this once before, but then Jody's gonna be taking over things with Ashley's guidance. So I'll send it over to Jody, get her feedback, we can talk about this and finalize it in the November meeting. Which is November 17th, gives us plenty of time for the December packet. If we needed to have another meeting beforehand, just to fine tune things, we can do that. The December work session is actually on the 16th, so it's the third Wednesday of the month. Because the chamber was booked that first week, so everything's back. So we do have an extra week in there if we needed to do a little bit more work on this policy before the December work session, we have that as an option if needed.
Okay.
And then we will work session it in council with the goal of voting on it as a resolution beginning of January, so that way we can proceed.
And looking ahead at your, schedule, you said June 15th is, the chamber hall is booked. Cancel the meeting or reschedule. If we're gonna deal with this public art stuff, we probably can't cancel the meeting if it were in June.
Yeah,
Can we just do it in this, the little room, or no?
we can, it was just whatever you guys wanna do, the meeting, I'm pretty sure it is open, because that other room doesn't get booked very often.
Okay.
But if we want to. What would you- Yep, it's open, so we can have that in the temporary city hall, if you guys want.
I just thought we'll probably need it if we're doing this public art thing, so.
Yeah.
He's not bringing.
Okay.
Oh, Lord.
We have a meeting at 10 that I have to run to. I'm just wondering, is there anything else that we have to do?
Yeah, so just the schedule in here, the only notes was, for our advocate interviews. I wanted to just call out that the room is booked in the morning, but we can start the first interview at 10:30. I mean, obviously, we don't know how many we're gonna get. We typically go more in the afternoon with interviews, but with the time of year, we may wanna start a little bit earlier, just for parking and stuff, but we have a little bit more time to decide on that. And then the June 15th one, since the chamber was booked, but we decided we'll just move that meeting over to temporary city hall, so we don't lose any momentum.
Okay, so I'm putting 10:30 on that meeting.
Great.
Okay.
Here, actually, I didn't really made one for you, and so I didn't need it out. So. Oh, that's nice, okay, cool.
Okay, any other questions on app cycle? Meetings? You Good stuff. Okay. Point of order. Anything else that we need?
Oh, I have a question.
Yes.
Well, for city people, so that little corner, when you come in where there's like a transfer station, that's city property right at the end of the bridge, right?
On the north
Front of
end.
the bridge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's the gas station.
Yeah, yeah, the bus station, yeah.
That's city park.
That's, okay. I have that, it's curious. I thought that would be a good place for something. Maybe like a little mural on the side of the building that says, well, instead of going through all this stuff, but I mean, if you mentioned doing something on the whatever, on the highway, but I think a little, just art, just throwing it out there, thinking. Thought.
We've got the public comment.
I think it's been. I think, because I kind of looked at it, like, I think that's city property, then we don't have to go through all the time. I mean, eventually, yes, to the, but
We don't have to go.
I'm not seeking complete sentences, sorry.
The ODOT,
Yes.
yes, hurdle. Anything else? Okay, we shall adjourn.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you, Jackie.